Call of Duty, Battlefield and Halo franchises can be considered among the best shooter titles. COD's focus has always been on creating epic stories and casual and entertaining multiplayer segments, and Battlefield, with less focus on the story, has tried to create a more realistic experience of tactical warfare in a crowded multiplayer section. But Halo is a more traditional and hardcore shooter, which is why it has a separate pro community whose expectations of the series are a little more specific and different than the other two series. The three new releases of these three series are called Vanguard, 2042 and Infinite, respectively. These three versions share in one case, not meeting fan expectations and bizarre problems. In more detail, we will discuss the reasons for the failure or disappointment of these three games, so that even if you want to choose one of these three games with a more open eye and aware of their problems, do this action. We begin with the more high-quality game reviewed in this video, Halo Infinite. Unlike the other two titles, the game has many advantages along with its disadvantages, and it can even be said that its problems are only summed up in one part of it, which is ironically free. Of course, being free is not a good reason for its problems, when it comes to a big title like Halo in the middle. But at least you play the incomplete multiplayer section of the game for free, not by paying $70. Halo Infinite's campaign section is really great, and there's no other big problem with it except for the problem of not being able to play as co-op. Large and detailed map, various weapons, main and sub-missions, and sub-characters, etc. But this is not the case at all in the multiplayer section of the game. The multiplayer section of this title suffers from several problems, which is the most important reason for the dramatic decline of players. Incomplete progress system, low game modes, low number maps, lack of high updates, poor battle pass, incomplete maps and poor communication of creators with players are headlines on the reasons for the weakness of the multiplayer section of this title. Unfortunately, the game's progress system, unlike the common live service titles of this genre, can only be achieved by performing challenges, and things like taking kills and carrying out missions to win a battle don't help your level progress at all. The challenges of the game are also very limited on a daily basis, and the same limited number also require a lot of time to do, and in fact, to progress in the game, you have to focus your life on this game. Many players who play Halo Infinite for fun have been playing for months and may have won a lot of match, but their level is 2 or 3. This is a really ridiculous case, and it's not clear when this level progression system is going to be reformed, and today we've only heard promises. Popular modes such as Forge, Infection and Firefight are absent from the game. These modes were among the most popular modes in the Halo 3 series onwards, which, surprisingly, suddenly disappeared. Forge allows players to edit maps and share them for other players. Infection is a battle between zombies and Spartans, and the last mode mentioned is the multiplayer part of the game's co-op up to 4 people. Another problem is the high distances of seasons of Halo Infinite game with each other. After a few months, the second season of the game is set to be released and 2 maps and 3 new game modes are added to the game. 3 game modes, none of which are named modes. Recently, it has been rumored that Battle Royale mode will be added to the game, indicating the confusion of Inzutrees 343 in the administration of a live service game, and they are stuck between adding old and new modes and just promising. Battle Pass of the game is also not very interesting and does not have very attractive decorative items and skins. Halo's game roadmap to the release of the 3rd season of the newly released game, which has a lot of debate. According to this roadmap, at the same time as the release of Season 2, 2 new maps and 3 new mode are added to the game: King of the Hill, Last Man Standing and Land Grab. Unfortunately, the rest of the items have been postponed to a nearly distant date. Co-op's online offering for August is only targeted, which is probably just a hollow promise, and the co-op split screen offline has no obligation. Forge's popular mode is even more dire, and for September there's only 1 beta targeted for it. The game's progress system stays until Season 3, and the creators have no goal to improve it according to this roadmap. Generally, the lack of proper support and confusion of Inzutrees 343 in managing a live service shooter game is quite clear and the main reason for Halo Infinite's failure to attract more player and the fall in the number of its player. I wish Microsoft would have paid for the multiplayer part of the game, but it would give a powerful multiplayer from Halo to fans after a long time. The failure of the latest version of Call of Duty and Battlefield 2042 has a simpler summary: underperforming creators and not having a new idea, even as much as needleheads. COD Vanguard will again take us to World War II in the fight against the Nazis. This story idea, combining the successful elements of this franchises and implementing it right in different parts, could easily have guaranteed the success of the game and reminiscent of the memories of the 5th version of the series, but it has been very difficult for the creators. Call of Duty Vanguard experienced a 26% drop in physical sales compared to Call of Duty Cold War and a 44% drop in digital sales, and even became completely free for 2 weeks. But what problems did the game suffer from that such a setback? Unfortunately, almost all of the problems of the game exist within the gameplay, and this cannot be denied. Of course, the reason for the failure of the game was not just its problems, and the players' frustration with the poor performance of Cold War had a very bad effect on the sale of this version, and many were discouraged by the idea of repeating the game. However, the problems of the game itself are also not low. The sound design of the game is something close to disaster. The voice of the enemy's feet is not recognizable at all, and you will hear almost no footsteps. The points of the spawn players in Call of Duty Vanguard are very badly designed, and you may be exactly spawn in front of a player whose aim is on you and you will be killed quickly. In different places of the map can be completely hidden, and still maps give campers a great advantage. Be sure to be able to play in the game so that after acquiring skills in the multiplayer section with people at your own level, you can turn off or on the crossplay without any problems. By the way, both of these features exist in Call of Duty Vanguard, but in the worst possible way. Crossplay constantly wants to be on, and when you don't enter a race after shutting down at the first attempt, you are repeatedly offered to turn it on. SBMM, or finding the game according to players' skill, is compulsory in the game and has caused long and futile patience despite the crowded servers. In fact, the higher your level, the more painful matchmaking becomes for you, and you have to wait a long time to find with people of your own level. View distance's problem in the obviousness of enemies from afar in the game is annoying and is one of the reasons you're killed, especially by snipers. Also, the game campaign is not very attractive and only brings you a 5-hour experience. Although this 5-hour experience is not so bad, but a story that is so short does not give the gamer a chance to communicate, and soon he will be forgotten. We get to last year's third and final game, last year's most unsuccessful shooter, Battlefield 2042. The title that lost more than half of its players, more than 50,000 negative reviews were registered on the Steam page and numerous requests were made to refund it. The most important problem with the compulsory activation game is the 128-player game mode for its multiplayer section. This number is not optimized for designed maps and respawn points and has caused many problems. This large number caused technical problems in the game process and also prevents you from getting persistent and enjoyable kills. The situation is somewhat bad when new generation players install the previous generation version to run the game with a limit of 64 players per map. The maps of this game are not suitable for foot soldiers at all and are more suitable for playing with helicopters, cars and planes, and the drivers of these vehicles completely dominate of maps in the game. The game maps are also very large and waste a lot of time of players. The game map is similar to the map of Battle Royale games and is inefficient and annoyingly big in vain. One of the most important problems of the game, even before the release of the original version, is the existence of specialists instead of the class system of soldiers. In the previous system, you could combine different classes with different loads and even create custom loadout with the suggested weapon. But in the new system, there is no class, and each soldier has his own uniform, skill, and loadout. This makes every player in the game dressed differently, and this really makes it hard to detection of friend and enemy. It is also not possible to custom the gadgets of soldiers with any specialty and change their skills and loadout in the game. The game's highly variable frame rate and lots of lag, along with its many bugs, will give you a whole potion of doom. We hope that the creators of all three named games, all of which are very popular franchises, will revive the games with a lot of updates and we can enjoy all of these titles. We've reached the end of the video. What do you think of the failure of these three games? Share with me in the comments section.